Hey everybody, welcome back. It's week 8 and we're going to be taking a look at not only the stuff that's due in week 8, but I'm also going to respond to the questions that were posted on the midterm survey. There weren't a ton of questions that were super specific to LIT 2000. I included my other class in it as well, which is the tech and professional writing class. And they seem to ask more questions, but I think some there were a couple that might be relevant to both of you. And I want to make sure that I thank those of you who participated in the survey, as well as answer the questions that I know were specific or that applied to LIT 2000. So we're actually going to take a look at those first, and then we will continue with our generally walkthrough scheduled program. All right, so let me share both of these. So this is just a visual of the questions that were asked, and I did divide them up by what I thought was asked by which class. I think the only one that was really specific to LIT 2000 was the question about the final. But of course, everybody can apply number 1, which is, what could I do to improve my graded assignments? So a lot of folks are worried. And here's the thing about papers. You're not probably ever going to get 100% on a paper that you've written. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It is nearly impossible to write something that is perfect. It just is. So the whole point to having these assignments is to improve as you go through and to learn from the feedback that I give you. So the main thing with graded assignments is I want you to take a look at not only your scores, but how you have scored on individual rubric sections, and also how you target those for the next time. So a lot of the struggles that people have in writing classes in college are around formatting and documentation. And here's the thing about formatting and documentation. Nobody, including myself, well, I'm pretty close. You don't have to memorize how to do this stuff. There are tools that are available to you at any given moment that can help you make sure that you formatted your papers properly for MLA, that you have created MLA styled entries for your works cited page. And even the tools that are in this class, the way that the assignments are given to you in the LibGuides that are provided by our librarians, those have citation tools built in. They have links to all of the relevant MLA course materials. Nobody expects you to do that stuff 100% accurately all the time. The main thing is, though, that you need to know that you don't know, and that you use the tools that are available to you to make sure that you check that each and every time. So even if you write 3 papers in, a 10-week period, don't take for granted that you remembered how you did it the last time. How you did it the last time might have been wrong, number 1. But also, you're not required or even invited to memorize this stuff because it changes. MLA does updates every few years. APA does them even more often than that. So a lot of the scoring problems are with format and documentation. Format is not as critical as documentation, but not properly citing sources is such a major part of writing at the college level. It's also true of writing out in the real world. It's done a little bit differently usually. CNN doesn't provide MLA works cited pages for their stories, but they do tell you where the information is coming from. And we are practicing that skill by writing documented assignments. So the main place that we get that information in our class is within our courses LibGuide. It does have links to all the tools that you need. It has sample papers, it has sample assignments, it has MLA rules and regulations, it has discussions of MLA and why we do the things that we do. For every reading that you use from the LibGuide, like the short stories or the poems or the plays or even the novels that we're working on now or coming up, all of those have provided citations. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. But how you improve your graded assignments is by paying special attention to the assignment itself, viewing these weekly walkthroughs so that you don't miss a required element, and double checking that you have met all the requirements before you go to turn it in. It's that simple. You also should not be afraid to ask for help, whether it's from me or from the library or from the Learning Center. Getting extra help is not a bad thing. So when it comes to writing assignments, that's the most important thing. I don't know for sure who asked why there are so few quizzes. We don't have a lot of quizzes in this course. Most of the time when you're doing an English course like this, a literature class, you might have in-class quizzes to make sure that you're doing the readings. But it's an online class, so quizzes are not as needed. Plus, I'm not trying to make you memorize facts and figures about works of literature. I'm having you write about them. So in a writing intensive course, it's a lot less about quizzing than it is in, say, a history course or something where you have to memorize dates. And then the question that I thought really applied to you guys, but I answered it for the 2210 people as well, is about the final exam. Yes, you are writing an essay-based final exam. It is not a multiple choice. There's no multiple choice. There's no nothing like that. Short answer and essay questions that will allow you to showcase what you have learned. You will want to take your time with it. You will not necessarily even have to finish it all in one sitting if you don't want. But yes, that is what our final exam will be, is an essay test. So there's the answers to those questions. While we are thinking about the LibGuide, I will go ahead and right off the home page, go ahead and click. Now you've got two tools here that are both designed to help you with your work in the course, but also this is a link to the Citation Center itself, the General Citation Center. And this is where you will find a whole section on MLA that has an MLA guide to help you create works cited entries, and to know what to do in the in-text citations. It has links to sample papers, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the Citation Center. But I want to show you and remind you that even in our own LibGuide, there is a whole section on the MLA basics. It's got information about the citation elements, core elements, formatting, et cetera, et cetera. So even without going to the regular LibGuide, the regular MLA guide, you have got everything you need in here. Plus, when we are talking about the actual literature, there are citation buttons for each of the items. So let's click on this one. This gives us our MLA citation, which we can copy and paste into our Word document. When you are using things from the library, this will take a second to pull up. I didn't have to sign in. That's exciting. All the library sources will have MLA citations provided. In Gale databases, which is what this is, you do have a cite button up here, and you have the citation typically is already overtly showing at the bottom. This is a long article. So, but you can also scroll down to the bottom and you take this whole thing and you put it in your works cited. So if you're using good resources and you're using our library's resources, you're already more than halfway there. So please make use of those tools. It's my last sell my little advertisement for the stuff that we have. So let me turn on, oh wait, first we go to the syllabus and then I'll turn on the student view. All right, so as I mentioned, we're in week 8. So let's scroll down. We've got one more week after this week before spring break. So in week 8, you are going to be reading your novel. And then of course the paper is due from the short fiction unit. So you've picked a novel, you're reading it now, and finishing up your short fiction paper. So that's the assignment. Next week, before we depart for spring break, we're going to be talking about the paper for the novel. And in addition to a paper, you're going to be doing a presentation. It's not two real separate assignments. The contents are probably going to be the same. How you put a paper together and how you put a presentation together are different. So even though the content might be the same, the actual formatting and how you do it is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to be talking about that so that over spring break, you can finish reading, you can be planning your paper, be working on it, and your presentation. All right. So that's what's going on. Let's go to the modules page, turn on student view. And we have finished week 7. We are in week 8. So for week 8, the overview and objectives, nothing earth-shattering or new here. We're writing the research paper on a short work of fiction and reading a novel. So that's where we are. In terms of the learning materials, your novel, of course, is your only reading assignment. I do have this is kind of a fun one, and this may or may not work for you. But I put this here because I find it very helpful when I'm trying to read or even at work in my day job. I will put on some music in the background, and I love this particular one. This is classical music for reading, and it's all by Tchaikovsky. I can't talk today. Tchaikovsky. There we go. This is just kind of for help. But try it. I find that especially if I'm reading something that I need to remember, having that music in the background actually helps. So the short fiction paper is due this week. There is a video about the short fiction paper in last week's module, and I'll go back there and show you, but that's what we're doing this week. Review all feedback from the planning assignment, which I will get back to as soon as possible. And of course, do not hesitate to reach out for help. There's some goals here, some things that will help you. And then of course, when you're ready to submit it, you can click here, or you can go back to the module and it's on the page there. You will turn in a Word document in MLA style, just as you've been doing. It needs to be at least 4 full pages. Use MLA, detailed analysis of the story. You are required to use at least 2 academic sources, and you can use the ones that are provided within the LibGuide. You do not have to go do extra research, but you certainly can. And then, of course, we've got the rubric. I find that it's very important to review the rubric once more before you turn it in, so you can make sure that you are in the right spot. But let me show you, if you go back to week 7, in the learning materials and activities, there is a whole, wait, that's about the discussion. Where is it? For the short fiction paper planning, you may want to go back to that to get a little extra help with it. But that's what we're doing. It's nothing radically different from the previous papers that we've written, except this one's about a short story. And there you go. So I will be looking for your feedback. I am still off today and I've got a lot of stuff to catch up on. So it probably won't be today. It'll probably be in the middle of the week when you get your stuff back from last week. So keep an eye out for that though. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please do reach out. I will be available. All right, everybody take care. Have a great week. And I'm looking forward to those fiction papers.